Remember, short, controlled bursts.
Get away from her, you bitch!
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Geek is showing. And this week, seeing as we are now officially on the run-up to the release of Prey, the Predator prequel,
whoop, whoop.
We thought we'd do its natural adversary, or should we say unnatural adversary, considering the history between the two? We'll find out. We are talking all about that Giga-esque wonderful creation that is the Xenomorph, the alien.
Yay!
Woohoo!
With his big old phallic head.
Finally, an episode where I actually know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
The last few, I've kind of sat here like, interesting facts. Anyway, so the next point is for this one, I can fully let my geek flag fly on this motherfucker because Aliens, along with Predator, is very near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, we are going to talk about the Alien franchise in its entirety, apart from AVPR, because nobody wants to talk about AVPR.
No. No, they don't.
But we're going to cover the entire franchise over the next hour, maybe 6.
We'll spend 5 hours talking about aliens and then like an hour for the rest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will quickly move ahead with this episode, talking about the Alien franchise. And like we normally do here, we'll go with how we got into the franchise. And I'm going to throw it over to you first, Guy.
Okay, well, back there in those shooty bang bang times of the 80s where everything was marvelous and explosions were everywhere and there was big old fake titties around. Yes, it was one of those times. I saw a film called Aliens. I actually saw it out of sequence. Aliens was the first one I saw, and my God, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah, same. Very much the same.
So then, after having seen that, I'm like, well, that's the second one. I better check out the first one then, so I know what I'm talking about. So, of course, watch the first one after the second one. I'm like, I was a disappointed young JB.
We'll get into that in a little bit about the watching them out of sequence.
Yes. So, Callie, how did you get into it?
Do you know what? I'm not really 100% sure because for me, there was a couple of different points that I can remember of my first real encounters with the franchise as a whole, right? Now, one of those times was being very, very small, walking through the video shop with my parents and inevitably getting dragged through the horror section and looking at the front covers that I probably shouldn't have been looking at that kind of age, and seeing the poster for the original Alien. So that was my first exposure, really, was seeing the poster, you know, the egg with the crack at the bottom of it. And, in space, no one can hear you scream, all that. And it kind of piqued my intrigue as a child of 6, 7 years old. I was like,
Freaky egg.
Yeah, this is, I was just sort of starting to get into the more horror aspect of Hollywood anyway, because okay, at the age of 6, I'd been watching action films that were probably a little bit out of my age range, but if my parents thought it was okay, I could watch it. You know, things like the first Rambo film.
Yes.
Like, that film's got quite a high rating, but in terms of gore and things like that,
it's still pretty tame.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the subtext with like the PTSD and all that kind of stuff in Rambo, sorry, tangent, goes over a lot of children's head. You know, the action scenes for children who maybe might not be old enough to watch it, I think it's fine for them to watch, in my opinion. There's worse things. There's been worse things since, and kids play GTA Online. So, yeah. Anyway, so that was my first exposure, the poster. The second thing that I can point to, it's kind of two things in one, really, was the the Kenner toy line and the Dark Horse comic books. Because being a young child going into town, spending pocket money, there was at the time in Burton, there was a local comic book shop. I think it's now like a tanning booth opposite Merlin's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a comic book store.
Grail Court Hotel?
Yeah, sorry, the Grail Court Hotel. That's the place I'm thinking about. Yeah, it used to be opposite that.
Yes, I remember that.
I'm going back many, many moons, right?
Yes.
So me and my friends would go in there, and we're obviously looking for the things like Spider-Man, Batman, you know, the kid-friendly shit.
The Star Wars.
Yeah, you know, the ones we love near and dear, right?
Mm.
And of course, it'd be like posters for like the latest Aliens and Predator comics books coming out at that time. Because at this time, it was like 91, 92. So Predator 2 had just come out.
Mm.
And there was the big crossover between Alien and Predator. So, you know, it was kind of everywhere at the time. That was my real exposure into it. So I started buying the figures because I liked the designs. Mm. And then my dad was like, oh, we'll sit and watch the films. And I was hooked from there. So it's really kind of those three little points.
Yeah.
It's like the trifecta of getting into Alien. Like I saw the poster, I read the comics, I bought the action figures, and then I saw the films, and that was it. Lifelong obsession. Yeah. So yeah, that's my introduction to Alien. Watching it with my dad after about a year of going, please.
Mm.
So.
Can we have a pool, Dad? Can we have a pool, Dad? Can we have a pool, Dad? Can we have a pool, Dad?
Exactly. So yeah, but right, moving swiftly along. That's the introduction over and done with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the films. Now, I have them all here on Blu-ray. I bought the anthology DVD Blu-ray set.
Nice.
I did want, and I saw it in HMV, and I kicked myself for years that I didn't buy it when it was on sale for 50 quid. But they had the big alien head with all the DVDs. Did you never see that?
You dickhead. You didn't buy that.
I couldn't. It was one of those things. It was like, I really want it, but I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was constantly trying to justify myself why purchasing it was a good idea, but then also remembering that you have a phone bill due out.
Yep.
You know, adulting. Time properly. It's like, I want it, but I can't have it. So yes, but I do have, like I said, the anthology box set. Prometheus and Covenant, for what they're worth. And first AVP, because we'll get to that one. We'll get to that one.
Keep your powder dry.
We will go first. The original, the classic Alien, directed by Ridley Scott.
Filmed in Britain.
Yes, at Pinewood Studios.
Indeed.
One of the more famous studios out there in the world. It's one place most Americans know actually where it is.
Yeah.
You say in Pinewood, they go, the studio place. Yes. Yeah. But
yeah, you know where you make all them films?
Alien.
First Alien. Bless Sigourney. Just
topping up my drink. You carry on talking.
So yeah, well, now that she's gone, it's fun time with JB. No, only kidding. Sigourney Weaver, it's got to be said, cemented a bloody career on this first one, I think.
Definitely.
I don't think she'd been in that much before it.
I think she'd done a couple of things. I know Alien was her big proper breakthrough. But I don't think she'd done too much before. But yeah, the film, let's cover the premise, because spoiler warning, we'll give a spoiler warning, although we shouldn't need to at this point. If you're watching this show, you but anyway, Alien. Let's start with that opening shot with the view of space, with the letters slowly appearing and forming the title. For its time, it set the tone going forward, especially for the first film, because I don't think there's many more franchises out there that literally switch genres each time they've released a sequel.
Yeah. No.
Because we'll get into it in a bit, people, but yeah. But the first Alien, it's definitely horror. And
Yeah.
I think
Very suspenseful as well.
Pardon?
Very suspenseful horror.
Oh, yes. The scene in we'll get to the scene, but the air ducts, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But the opening scene where the ship's powering up and waking people up, it's so slow, drawn out and long. But in some other films, that gets boring quick.
Yeah.
When they just drag things on for the sake of it. But with Alien, because you literally know, if you've never seen it, you know nothing going into it. You're like, so they're on a ship, they're in space, they're in stasis, they're waking up. Each scene that it's dropping after the next is hooking you in with a question.
Yeah.
Each thing until it starts unfolding, and that's perfect storytelling, in my opinion.
Oh god, yeah. Slip.
I'm sorry. But quickly getting into the pace of the film. The mining ship Nostromo.
Red Dwarf. Sorry.
Wrong franchise.
Nostromo.
Although
It's very similar. Let's face it.
Hold on. Segue. In the special edition cut of Aliens, one of the managing directors on the Hadley's Hope colony planet is the captain in Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Not many people actually know that.
I know, and I can never remember his film. He's in all sorts of bloody films.
Yeah, but the first time I saw the actual cut, the special cut of Aliens, I went, he's in Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it's Captain Hollister.
Yeah, that was like, oh. Wait a minute, are we trying to say that Red Dwarf is set in the Alien universe?
Yes.
Now, there's a crossover I want to see.
Lad Bible, come at us.
We need to see that as a crossover.
Yeah, definitely.
Dark Horse Comics, I know you've lost the rights to the Alien franchise, but
that's copyright Guy and Kelly.
Yes, we're throwing ideas out there. Somebody get the rights to Red Dwarf and release a Red Dwarf versus Alien comic. RDVA, I'd love to see that, although that actually sounds like something you'd order in a certain kind of nightclub.
Hey. Go on now.
Back to the film. The mining strip. No, mining strip. You got me.
Mining strip. The landing strip.
Mining ship Nostromo, hauling a cargo back to Earth, picks up a distress signal. They are told by the company
or mother
to go and investigate. They land on the planet. And wackiness ensues. They find an egg.
Wackiness.
They find an egg. Poor old Mr. Ollivander from Harry Potter. He gets a horseshoe crab spider thing stuck to his face, and then he births a small
You mean John Hurt?
Baby. Yeah, John Hurt. He played Ollivander in Harry Potter.
The esteemed actor John Hurt, not the geezer from fucking.
I was throwing out a joke. For the current generation of Harry Potter fans, it's like go and track down aliens, see what happened to Ollivander before he started throwing ones about.
Hey, you want a spoiler alert? Internet? We ain't fucking doing Harry Potter on this show.
No, we're not.
Fuck you.
Anyway, back to Alien.
Yeah.
Then you have the chest burster scene, which has gone down in cinema history. Just for purely how grotesque it was. And a little bit of trivia, most people do know this. The only person going into that, shooting that scene who knew what was going to happen was John Hurt. Nobody else knew. So that scene when Lambert gets splattered in the face with the blood, Veronica Cartwright, that was, I think of the name for a second. When you see that scene where the blood hits her in the face and she's doing this, that's real.
Yeah.
That's a real reaction. They didn't know what the hell was going on. So every reaction in that room up until that chest burster stops moving isn't a real reaction. And this goes back to segue. This goes back to what we were saying in previous episodes, why practical effects are better than fucking CGI.
Yes, they are.
If they made Alien now, foreshadowing, it would be CGI bullshit and we wouldn't believe a fucking second of that scene.
No, that's the thing.
Sorry, if you hear random traffic going past, it's because I've got my windows open. I live on a main road. And people think it's a speedway.
That's Windsor. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
It's fine.
I meant Zanzibar. Yes, that's Zanzibar.
Anyway, quickly moving on with Alien. The crew decide to try and track this little pink squishy thing down with the help of Jonesy the cat.
Yeah, good up, Jonesy.
And then you find out that it's not so little and it's now like a 7-foot tall biomechanical killing machine with a mouth inside of its mouth.
Yeah. And acid for blood.
With acid for blood, yes. And it turns out that the company wanted it for its bioweapons program, which leads into the second film. But we'll get to that in a moment.
That's what they always want. They keep wanting that.
Exactly. You'd think by now they would have developed something better on their own.
Greedy company.
Like Donald Trump. Oh, sorry.
Donald Trump, Alien. Xenomorph, Donald Trump.
Yeah. Keeps a second Donald Trump under his wig.
No, that's just a penis.
Yeah, a second Donald Trump.
Yeah, that was it.
There you go. Anyway, so yeah, thoughts on the film. I absolutely love it as a horror film.
Yes.
I will say it very much plays into some of the tropes of the haunted house kind of movie of the time. I mean, I think it was actually pitched as haunted house in space.
In space. Yeah. On crack.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, okay, there are some deleted things that were taken out of it and changed, and quite possibly for the better. Two notorious deleted scenes that I know of is there was actually originally going to be a sex scene between Ripley and Dallas, the captain. And basically
Tom Skerritt.
The explanation behind it is that even if a person is married, goes onto a cargo ship, they're going to be away for X amount of time. So to relieve tensions within the crew all sign a contract that basically says that they can sleep with each other, but it's just for the duration of the trip. It's not a romantic thing. I'm like, yeah, could have done without that. I'm glad they didn't leave that in.
Yeah.
It would have just, I think it would have boiled Ripley down a little bit. It would have took that
it would have
edge
cheapened
off.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And the one scene that I think, if it had been done right, it could have, it definitely would have changed how the sequels would have played out. But it also would have made you go, And the original ending was supposed to be that the alien got in the ship with Ripley, the escape pod. It kills her, eats her brain, starts picking up a transmission, and it responds to it in Ripley's voice. And I was like, I have mixed feelings.
No.
It would have showed, though, that the alien, when it does the head biting thing, it's not doing it just as an instinctual attack. It's actually gaining an intelligence from doing that, which, hello, Starship Troopers tried that 30 years later and it worked.
Yeah.
So,
Starship Troopers is awesome.
Yeah, the big brain bug at the end of the film. You know what I mean? They went with that idea and kind of ran with it, and it worked. It worked for its context. So, like I said, I have mixed feelings about that one because it's like, it could have been interesting to see this alien hooking up with another space station and becoming more and more intelligent and seeing how far this thing could evolve. Like it was constantly changing, which in the later films, they kind of try to say that that's kind of what it's doing, but slowly, I don't, whatever. But anyway, so that's Alien. What do you reckon? 10 out of 10? Or is
9.
it slightly below 10 because its age is... I don't want to say it because I love it, but its age is making it show the cracks.
Yes, it is, especially the suit.
Yeah, like... Since the advancements in CGI, we've seen aliens move a lot more scarier and a lot quicker. So I think that if a film like this had come out now, it probably would have died a death.
Yeah, but of course, on the flip side of that coin is I was watching Alien 3 the other day on Disney Plus, and the CGI hasn't aged well on that either.
Oh,
so
to be fair, the CGI in Alien 3 wasn't very good for its time either.
No.
I mean, you've got to remember, it came out in what, 94? I don't know. 93 or 94 it came out. I'm not 100% certain. Hold on. 92, sorry. I was off by a couple of years. It came out in 92.
That is.
In 94, you had animated TV series like Beast Wars and Reboot and things like that. Just a couple of years later, and they blew it out the water. So it wasn't great for its time. But we'll talk about the debacle of Alien 3 in a minute.
Yes. Well, let's say debacle. Come on. It's a bit strange. But look, just bear with me a sec.
So you're breaking up there a little bit.
Sorry. How about now?
There we go.
All right. We're just stopping outside.
Having a ciggy. Don't blame you.
And plus the fact I'm just
hot.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Hey, check this out.
Oh, Hendrix. Right. Anyway, moving on to possibly the best sequel ever made.
There is an
this
argument.
time,
for that,
it's War, Aliens.
Fuck yeah.
Possibly the best in the franchise. It's had a few bits where it's tried to get back up to its peaks, but it's not managed it. So for me, Aliens, and we talked about this in our 80s sci-fi episode, so we're not going to cover this one too much. We've already talked at length about this bitch.
We've already sucked his cock pretty hard.
We have. We've suckled from the Queen's teat. But yeah, as we said earlier in this episode, the Alien franchise is definitely changed genres each time it's brought out a sequel.
Yeah, because this is pure sci-fi action.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, if the first one is a haunted house in space, this is Vietnam War in space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In future space.
Pardon?
In future space.
Yes, exactly. But you know what I mean? It very much is like the tagline on the front even says, this time it's war. It literally is. It's over 100 aliens versus a group of, by the end of it, about 5 Marines.
Yeah, if that.
And Carter Burke and Newt.
Yeah. Carter Burke.
Oh, yeah.
Turtle.
Played brilliantly by, I can never remember how to pronounce his last name. Paul Reiser,
I think.
Yeah. Who was in Stranger Things.
Yes, he was.
I mentioned that because I've been watching it recently. I know, I'm behind the times. Oh,
don't worry, I've not watched it.
Well, there you go. Then you don't. I don't have to explain myself to you. Just
go on. You can say it to me if you want.
Well, when new series of things come out, like with Obi-Wan and things like that, it doesn't matter. I'm an impatient bitch, and when there's a cliffhanger at the end of an episode, I don't like waiting a week to find out what happens next. I want to find out straight away. So I wait for the series to have its run, and then I binge watch it all in one go. And I can watch Buffy, one season is like 22 episodes, yeah? I can finish it in 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah, I can put it on from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed, and I love it all the way through. And that's what I'm doing now with Stranger Things. Now that season 4 is over, I'm marathoning that bitch.
Nice.
So anyway, back onto Aliens. Greatest sequel ever made? Yes.
I can't think of a better sequel.
No. I suppose we could talk about some of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, not In a bad way. The film was never tampered with. It was just how dangerous it got on set sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this is the time before health and safety went into overdrive.
The one story that pops up in my head, and I watched it. There's a documentary on YouTube. It's a 3-hour documentary behind the scenes of Aliens.
Ooh.
Really, really good. I think it's one of the one. I think it's a rip off of one of the Blu-rays or DVDs from one of the box sets. It's like a big, huge documentary.
I fancy that.
Focuses on the scene I'm going to talk about now, and it's the bit with the APC coming down the corridor. And in the film, it's supposed to crash into the thing and plow on through. Nobody told the camera crew this, and they nearly didn't get out of the way. And this APC was actually built off of those, those big long things you see that pull aircraft jumbo jets along down the runway.
Yeah.
It was basically prefitted around one of them. They move a lot quicker than people realize when they're not pulling an airplane. And they tend to take a bit longer to stop.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody nearly got flattened. Another scene that pops into my mind where, the actors nearly got killed, health and safety, was the scene where they set fire to the inside of the APC where they're retreating.
Yeah.
It set fire to the polystyrene and the fiberglass and everything around them. And they tried to breathe and they couldn't. And thankfully, Al Matthews, the guy who played Sergeant Apone, was a former Marine. He got straight on top of shit, cleared everybody out, made sure it was all doused. He jumped straight into action. And it's like, damn, James Cameron was trying to kill people even back then. But again, it goes back to what we just said about Alien. When it's a real reaction like that, you got to love it.
Yeah.
Not
definitely.
killing your actors in the process is always good, but, if you can get a real reaction.
Try not to do that.
Yeah.
No, take note of Brandon Lee.
Quick general premise of Aliens for those who've not seen it. 57 years later, Ripley is found. Turns out that the company still want the alien. They go back to the planet to wipe them out because there's been an infestation. And only 3.5 people make it out by the end of it.
Yeah. Which ain't bad.
Which one of them being an android, Bishop,
Lovely Bishop.
wonderfully by Lance Hendrickson, one of my all-time favorite actors.
He's great.
Loved him in Millennium.
Loved him in Alien 3.
Brief cameo.
Yeah, but still great.
Oh, hell yes. And seeing as you mentioned it, we'll because we've talked about Aliens at great length, we'll jump on to the third one. Now,
where do you go when you're on top of the mountain?
I'm going to fight the corner of the third one.
So am I.
But only on one thing. If you have only ever seen the theatrical cut, don't judge it. It's a piece of shit. Don't take that as what the film should have been. On the Blu-ray, it gives you the option to watch the 2003 special edition, which among the fans has become known as the assembly cut, because David Fincher, God bless him, he's done some brilliant films. Seven, just amazing film, but he's tried to distance himself away from that film as much as he can.
Yeah.
Because the studio fucking screwed him hard, left, right, and center. It was his first. He'd done music videos, but it was his first film.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
They started shooting without a completed script. The script was getting rewritten as they were shooting. The studio chopped it to bits, and it just. But back to my point. Watch the assembly cut. It's about, I want to say, about half an hour longer.
Oh yeah. Cool.
It's got a completely different opening to it. It features the first official appearance of what is now more commonly known as a royal facehugger. Because the one big question that I always asked myself watching Alien 3 when it was like first released on home video and all that kind of stuff was like, okay, right, on the opening, it shows you there's an egg on the Sulaco. Okay, I'm not even going to question how the egg got there. right? Okay, maybe the Queen squirted out an emergency egg while she was on the ship and it got whatever. Okay, I can suspend the disbelief. It got there somehow, whatever. The thing I could not in my brain reconcile is the first two films established very, very clearly one egg, one face hugger, one alien. Very fucking clearly, they established that. In Alien 3, spoiler warning, Ripley's got the Queen alien in her chest. Right? I could never understand if it was a normal face hugger, which it showed it to be. In the theatrical cut, you see that bit where it's creeping around the ceiling towards the dog, right? It doesn't explain why there's one face hugger, two eggs. The alien that's going around doing the killing and the one that's in Ripley. How the fuck did that happen? In the assembly cut, it shows you them hold it up, and you can see it's complete. It's not a normal face hugger. It's bigger. You know what I mean? He's holding it up, and it's like this.
Yeah.
It's huge, right? In the comic books that were going out at the time, the royal face huggers had just been introduced as a way that they spread, queens into different colonies. And I think they were introduced in the Predator comics, I think, in the AVP comics. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Get on the Google later and check it your fucking self. But yeah, it finally explained in my head of like, that's why there's two. Because a royal facehugger can implant a queen embryo and a guardian.
Yeah.
And the guardians are the runners because they need to be fast to get in, grab the prey, and get the fuck back out again.
Yeah.
Cocoon ready for the queen. It finally made sense. So if you watch the assembly cut of Alien 3, you really do kind of go, oh, it makes a lot more fucking sense now. Oh, and the alien comes out of a big ox, not a fucking tiny Rottweiler. Thank you. Rant over. But yeah, Alien 3, the assembly cut, I fucking love it.
Cool.
Are you going to say some points about it?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it when it came out. It got a lot of stick, but when you're at the top, where the fuck do you go?
Exactly.
You've
to be
got
honest,
take it back down.
Exactly. I think the original kind of idea going into Alien 3 was that they crash land on a planet, and it's back to that situation of it's them versus a single alien with no guns, like it was in the first one.
Exactly.
And take it back to its horror root. Show that one is just as dangerous as 10,000 of the fuckers. Really hammer that point home of they've literally just survived a war with one of them, with thousands of them. Now one of them is going to take them down. Wow. Which for the case of Hicks and Newt, it wasn't even the alien that got them.
Yeah.
Which I'm still sore about that to this day.
Hicks and Newt, everybody. Hicks and Newt. Charge your glasses.
But yeah, Alien 3, I think now with the assembly cut being more widely available and a lot more people seeing that, if the studio had just kept their dick prints off of it, if they just let Fincher do his job and let the script get finished before they started making the bloody thing.
Yeah.
It could have been...
Excuse me a second.
No worries. It definitely could have been a much more successful sequel. It's getting more recognition now, but not to disrespect the film, because I do love the third film. When everything that comes after it is shit, of course you're going to look at it in a slightly better light. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Alien 3 is not that bad compared to Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, and Covenant. That's not saying much.
No.
Especially when it comes to Prometheus, especially. I really don't like that film. Only film in the franchise that I noped out of 20 minutes in. No. I'm going to watch the end of this, but no, I am not invested in a single one of these characters.
That's the thing.
So, but yeah, we'll get into that. Anyway, Alien
I'll tell
3,
you what, there is some hellishly good acting talent in Alien 3. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Christ, yeah. It's a who's who of famous British names.
Yeah.
Pete Postlethwaite pops up in it.
Brian Glover.
We
We love you,
Charles
Brian.
Dance. Charles Dance.
Yes, Charles Dance, who managed to get it on with Ripley. I'm not quite sure how that managed.
Why not? You know,
Punching above his weight.
definitely.
Bless you, Charles.
But I can't remember the name of the actor, but he played the character Moores.
Yeah.
And I love his character because he has some of the, I don't want to say darkest, but he has some of the more funnier scenes that definitely break the tension at just the right moment. And the one that pops up in my head is it's Ripley goes running into the mess hall to tell them that the alien's there and it's going to get them. And, Brian Glover's there and he's, get this woman back to the infirmary. Then the alien just comes down, gets him, he's gone. Blood splatters everywhere. The little stress ball thing that he'd been carrying around with him just bounces across the floor, and you've got Moores standing back, holding the chair, and he just goes, "Fuck!" It's just the way he says it. It's just the slight pause, and then fuck. And the bit when he's on, Ripley's asking them what they've got on the plant that they could possibly use as a weapon, and he starts listing off all the. He goes on a rant. He's like, we haven't got this, we haven't got that, we haven't got any of this. Oh, I don't know why we're talking to her anyway. She's the one who brought the fucker here. Why don't we just take her head and shove it through the fucking wall? Does it right up in Ripley's face. And this is why I love that scene. It's her look, just the look on her face as she's looking at him. She knows he's blowing hot air. She knows he's fucking terrified, and that's his way of dealing with it. By the end of it, he's the only fucker who makes it out.
Danny Webb.
That was it. Thank you, Danny Webb. Yes, I like his character, and they did segue slightly off. We go tangent times. In the comic books, they did actually kind of carry his character on.
Oh, cool.
Basically, he got transferred to another prison. He wrote it as a book. And 10 years after his death, the book was picked up by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation because it was actually a factual documentation of what happened. And so they did kind of round his story arc off in the comics a little bit, but it was much like, they're famous for doing in Aliens. They killed him off screen. Yeah. But the events that the comic book followed up on that, where they actually show the book thing that he wrote, was set I think it was 150 years later. And so it's something like that anyway. I'm not really up to date with the comics, but I know the character did carry on into the comic books.
Who else we got? Let's see. Phil Davis was Kevin Dodd. The great Phil Davis. He was in Quadrophenia, amongst a lot of other things. Sherlock, notably. Paul McGann.
He played, what was his name? 86?
86.
Or 80-something, because they called him that because it was his IQ.
Yeah, Aaron. Ralph Brown.
Yeah. Seen him in quite a few things as well. He's
he's in this. The people in this are just who's who of British acting.
Exactly. Well, again, it just goes to show that filming in Pinewood has its perks. You get some of the cream of British talent. And if nothing else, I think Alien 3 is definitely a time capsule of that filmmaking period of Hollywood where if it was made at Pinewood, you had famous British people pop up in the background somewhere. Yeah. It doesn't happen so much anymore. No, unfortunately. Back then, I mean, like you said, Alien 3, if you just look at the cast list, and it's basically like who's who of British top. You know what I mean?
Well, apart from Charles S. Dutton as Dylan, obviously.
I did like him. I did like his character. If you've ever actually read the novelization for Alien 3,
no, I haven't. Actually.
His characters wrote a little bit differently, but somehow comes across more powerful. Like he's the only character in the film that definitely comes across as he's sorry for what he's done and he's trying to make amends for it. Like, the religious aspect of it, which I think they should have used a little bit more in the film. because there's all these religious overtones, like Ripley throwing herself into the fire and all that kind of stuff. And there's all this religious imagery popping up in and out throughout the film. And, you know, these prisoners have supposedly found God at the ass end of space. I'm quoting Ripley directly there. You know, I think they should have played on it a little bit more, because apart from them occasionally like playing with their crosses or saying a prayer, it doesn't really come across.
No.
But anyway, moving swiftly on, we're going to go to the definite downfall and definite start of the shitty and shittier sequels. Alien Resurrection. What?
I went to the cinema to see that.
I unfortunately was too young to go to the cinema and waste my money on that experience.
I wish I hadn't.
But
It's
very, very hit and miss.
I enjoyed Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman is a treat to watch no matter what he's in. I mean, I could sit and watch that guy, you know, act out a one-man play of adverts from a phone book, and I'd still find it incredible. But I mean, we can't fault the cast. Okay, the cast is not the problem. Sigourney Weaver back as Ripley, a cloned version of Ripley.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
250 years later, you know, perfect as always, perfect choice. Winona Ryder as the android call. Oh shit! Spoiler warning. That's a plot point. She's an android. You know, good call. No pun intended.
Hey.
Perlman. You know, all the other actors, I think, nailed it. Nailed their parts. It's just the story and the CG and the setting and and the Queen giving birth, because they now have a human reproductive system. And the one thing one of my friends so very keenly observed is Brad Dourif, at the time when we first saw this film back in late 98, when it came out on video, we knew who Brad Dourif was because of the Child's Play movies. We'd seen them.
Yeah.
You know, he provided the voice of Chucky, so we knew who that actor was. He disappears at the very beginning of the film. Shows up at the end of the film. He's stuck to the wall in the Queen's chamber as she's giving birth. And they've just mentioned that she has a human reproductive system. And one of my friends, right, was sat there watching the film. We're in stunned silence at what we're seeing, not because of how grotesque it is, just because we're like, what? One of my friends, very quietly, we hear like a whisper in the background, just go, dude fucked an alien. That was all he said, was, dude fucked an alien. And we went, oh shit, yeah, oh no.
Jiggy with the Queen.
Oh, I mean, when you say you're going to get royally fucked, I don't think that's what they mean.
How are you supposed to get a hard on for that?
I don't question the logistics of it. I don't want to know, but
how?
It was weird that one of my friend's brains went straight there before anybody else even got to that point. We were just like, oh shit. Yeah, she's having a human birth. Did she have a human style conception? And if that's true, does that mean there's a king alien floating around? Which I think if they tackled it that way, I could have accepted it. It's been like due to the introduction of a female reproductive system in a technically monogendered race, has now created a divergent species. And now not only have you got a queen alien, you've got a king alien.
Yeah, he's like a rooster alien. Just going around.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, something like that. I probably could have bought that more than Brad Dourif strapped down to it. Yeah.
If the Queen alien's got an alien mouth, they'd probably bite his prick off.
Foof within a foof.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Right, we're not going down this route. Back to Alien Resurrection. It was naff, right? There's some scenes I liked.
When she cooked that basketball.
Yeah. Yes.
That was cool.
Yes. And that was actually Sigourney Weaver. There was no camera trickery whatsoever. She did that. Got it. Spot on. The film on a whole, just I didn't like it. I didn't like how it ended. Again, with the DVD box set, you do get a director's cut that gives you a slightly longer opening and a slightly longer ending, where they actually arrive back on Earth, and yeah, it's a shithole. So, yeah, I can't really say too much about Alien Resurrection because,
apart from that naughty Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and naughty boys.
I love how actually the throwaway line in Alien Resurrection, like Weyland-Yutani, the big bad corporation in, well, technically, if you go by chronological order, it's the first 5 films. I love how there's a throwaway line in this one where Ripley mentions about the company and someone says, the company? And some dude in the background goes, oh yeah, Weyland-Yutani, they were bought out by Walmart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, savage burn. Either savage burn, or does that mean that Walmart's going to become the world's most powerful conglomerate ever?
Disney are trying for that in a minute, so you know.
Yeah. But we won't get into that one because we might get flagged, considering we're talking about something they own now.
Well, yeah, but I don't mind. Disney, buy everything so everything comes on my telly. Buy it all.
Anyway, moving
Go on,
on.
my masters.
We'll touch briefly on this one because we're going to cover this one more in a future episode.
Yes, we are.
We're going on release order here, people, not film order, just so you know.
Yes.
AVP, the original one, it was rated a 15. It should never have been rated a fucking 15. Thoughts, Guy?
Not bad. I didn't actually mind it.
There was some bits I liked, a lot of it I didn't.
But of course, I was always going to go see it, wasn't I? It's still my favourite bloody creations.
Well, I went cinema to see it, and when I went on my first viewing, I wasn't disappointed.
No, I wasn't. I was like, yeah.
But
all right.
When you're a teenager and you see, like, you know, the action and stuff going on like that, you can you just get lost in it. When you become an adult and you start looking at through more adult eyes and a more analytical brain, and you start picking the scenes apart, you realize that the timelines and the concepts and everything just make no fucking sense either to themselves. It showed in the first Alien film, that face hugging took around 24 hours. Then it was a further 24 hours before you had a chest burster scene, right?
Yeah.
In AVP, it's egg, face hugger, chest burster, fully grown alien. I shit you not, somebody's done the timestamp on the film. It's like 3.5 minutes. And it's actual in-shot time because they're moving to the 10-minute things of the bloody pyramid. So it's not like it's in 3 minutes, you know, jumping back and forth and, you know, time cuts. No. This is 3 actual minutes. The aliens don't spawn that quickly. I'm sorry, they don't. No.
Maybe that one was a premature ejaculator.
The one thing I really do like about AVP, though, is, okay, I don't like the Predator designs. They're too bulky. They're too... They look like they've been on the steroids a little bit too much. But I did like the concept and the idea of the Scar Predator.
Yeah. Who
realizes that, okay, I'm supposed to be killing anything that's in this pyramid, but this humans just killed an alien. And I'm on my own here, so I need backup.
Bit of respect.
Yeah. You know, I kind of get that idea, they tried to adapt that from the comic book, and the comic book did it so much better. That's for a Predator episode. We will get into that later.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, the first AVP, I liked it when I first saw it. Now I can enjoy it for the cheese fest that it is, but it's more of a guilty pleasure film than anything these days, in all honesty.
But hey, we get Lance back.
Yes, we did, as Carl Bishop Wayland. Okay, I will very, very briefly touch upon AVPR. We said we weren't going to talk about it, but I'll very quickly touch upon it.
How dare you?
The one thing I do like, because it is a sequel to this one, and we had Lance back as Wayland, and it's just the Wayland Corporation at that point. AVPR ends with the introduction of Miss Utani from the Utani Corporation.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I get what they were trying to do between the two films to basically set up that these two different companies, their goals aligned, so they merged companies. I like that little idea that, you know, rather than screw each other over, they decided to work together to get what both of them wanted, which was more advanced weapons and shit. Anyway, it is a warm one today. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Christ.
Anyway, getting there now. Prometheus. Anyway, that's enough about Prometheus.
Pretty much.
I don't think we need to say much more. I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea. I think that much like some of the Hellraiser films, where it was developed as another film and then they tacked the Hellraiser franchise onto it just to keep the rights.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very much that Prometheus is basically the Alien equivalent of that. Like, it was written as something completely different, like an ancient astronaut's life on Earth, origin, origin of the species kind of bullshit. And then someone at the studio went, "Oi, Ridley, can you stick an alien in that so we can make another trilogy?" And he went, "Pay me another $250,000, and yes." That's what I feel like it was. It was basically they offered him a paycheck to stick alien into it, and he went, "Yeah, all right, then I'll just quickly rewrite this one line. Oh, and by the way, it's an alien." The black goo, the space jockey being a guy in a suit.
They still have Fassbender.
The one saving grace about the whole, two saving graces is him and Idris Elba. For the short part that he played in it, I liked his part. But
I watched Idris Elba do anything.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I do.
But yeah, that's enough of Prometheus. I don't like it. It's not. If it could be wiped from the canon of the Alien films, I'd be perfectly fucking fine with it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I liked some of the designs, that it was true and faithful to the original. The big bone ship design when you see it flying and everything. Although, that thing rolled and nobody thought to run to the left or to the right. They just ran straight. Anyway.
Let's move on.
Covenant. Like Prometheus, but not as bad, because at least it had aliens in it.
Yes.
They showed up right at the fucking end of it, but at least they were in it. That's what I can say about it. John C. Reilly's performance in it surprised me.
Yeah.
I know him more for his comedy chops. So to see him in something with, okay, his character does have some little one-liners and some funny quips, but
yeah, generally on the whole,
it comes across as that's part of the character. He tells the jokes to lighten the mood. He's that kind of person, So, but on the whole, I think it was better than Prometheus, and it was getting there for me in terms of this feels more like an Alien film. We like the backburster. That did surprise me, because I was like, wow, okay, never seen that before. Something new in the franchise. Interesting. And then Ridley Scott got his boner on for androids, and it became the Fassbender show for nearly an hour, where it was just Fassbender talking to Fassbender about the character. Just it's the pacing of the film for me in that middle bit slowed down to the point where I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And that was on my first viewing. This wasn't on a repeated watching.
Yeah.
First time I watched it, I got this as a Christmas a couple of years ago. I put it on Christmas Day about 7:00. My daughter had gone up to bed. My partner at the time was in the shower, in the bath, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to watch this. And I was liking it, like I said, up into the bit where the other David show, the other android shows up, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired. And the next thing I know, I'm getting woken up in the films at the end, and I'm like, oh shit, I missed the ending. That's how much it slowed it down for me.
Yeah.
It took it to snail's pace, and it really didn't need to. It did not need to slow down and have that much of an exchange. I mean, all I'm going to say is the one scene where it's Fassbender talking to Fassbender, trying to play the flute, and that immortal line of, you do the blowing, I'll concentrate on the fingering.
Mm.
You know, it was just, oh my good God. Like, are we just about to ready to start seeing 50 Shades of Droid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It felt so out of place and so weird for supposedly an alien film. It's on the title. Anyway, that's my rant of Covenant over. Guy, your thoughts on Covenant?
No, you're not wrong. Jesus Christ, don't slow it down. For God's sake, it's worse than my daddy's bollocks. So,
I think what we've learned from this is when your franchise is literally going to bounce from one genre to another across different sequels, I think it's that old expression of, if you are a jack of all trades, you are a master of none.
indeed.
And I think that's kind of what the Alien franchise has almost become. It's almost become a joke of itself.
Yeah.
It started so good with the haunted house formula. Then it moved into, the more action heavy focus. Then it tried to, reinvent the wheel, so to say, by going back to that.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah. This is the thing I'd say about Alien 3 when describing what it is as a film. To me, it's more like a psychological thriller. Because in previous films, when Ripley encountered the alien, you knew that it could kill her outright.
Oh, yeah.
In an Alien 3, once you found out the Queen was inside of her, it couldn't kill her. So it changed the dynamic between the two. It almost became this, almost like mind games between her and the alien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It started to really evolve and change the relationship that Ripley had. My favorite line in Alien 3 from Sigourney Weaver is, she thinks she's got it cornered in the basement with the pipe. And she says, you've been in my life so long, I can't remember anything else.
Yeah. That's lovely, isn't it?
That to me,
fantastic.
Yeah. And I think they should have ended it there, but they carried it on. And
yeah, that's the thing, though, isn't it? They sort of go, here's a dump truck full of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the problem.
But I think that is about all we can do for the Alien franchise. There are comic books. Sadly, I don't have any of the comic books apart from the AVP ones that I've got over here somewhere that are on my to read pile. There was actually a sequel to Aliens, a proper sequel. It was the Alien 3 comic book, but you'll have to get hold of the first edition to give it a proper read, because when they reprinted it, they changed all the names.
Bastards.
Yeah. It was supposed to be set after Alien 3, after Ripley had died. Hicks is still working for the military. Newt's in an insane asylum. And the aliens are back, and they basically team up to go after it. There's a video on YouTube that covers it. I'll link it to you at some point.
Sweet, nice.
It's basically like an audio book version of the comic.
Yeah.
I'll send it you. But yeah, that was an interesting read. I did read that one because it came out when Alien 3 came out, and that was one of the comic books that got me into Alien, was reading that one. Because I was like, oh, this follows up the events of the second film. Like, but it's had its highs, it's had its lows. It's now in Disney's hands, the franchise, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Should there be any more? Or should it be left?
I'm not one for reboots, and you know this.
Oh, I do. Neither am I.
But if ever a franchise was ever in need of it, or do what Halloween's done, say, right, everything you thought you knew, no, fuck it off, right? Do an Alien 3 that picks up after Aliens, right? It's been 30 years, 40 years now, but it's 40 years later, right? Ripley has had her life. She's gone off. She raised Newt. She's now happily married with Hicks, right? And then start your fucking new trilogy from there. The aliens are back. They found another planet. They found another nest. Or because they're now both owned by the same studio and they like doing their expanded universes, cross it back over with Aliens and Predator.
Yeah.
Cross the two over again. Say that, another colony planet's been found. We don't know how. We thought you'd wipe all the aliens out. And that introduces the Predators because they're the ones going around seeding the planets. So they can hunt them. And that would bring Ripley into conflict with the Predators. And then you set up a brand new AVP universe. Hey, nice. Disney, I know you're never going to watch this show, but listen to us. That's a perfect idea.
Yeah.
Take it. I don't even want the credit for it. I'd just like to see it happen. You know what I mean? I'm that much of a fan that I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go with that. I'd watch that.
But yeah, I don't think there should be any more films. I think the TV series that's supposed to be coming out sounds interesting. But in terms of films, I think it's definitely had its day. Or, like we said, do a reboot / sequel, whatever.
Yeah.
A reboot wall or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Other than that, I don't see what they could do other than tying the two Prometheus and Alien Covenant into the first Alien film. Unless they do just one more film to tie it all together and then they're done. I think as much as I hate to say it, Alien needs a reboot. I hate saying that because I hate fucking shit like that. I hate reboots, but Alien, I think, is at the age where it needs it.
Yeah, I would agree.
But anyway, I think that's about all we can really say about Alien.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got about left. I am just melting.
You and me both, hon. You and me both. Righty ho, then. So we're going to wrap up today's episode. Let me just check dates. What date are we on? We're on the 17th, aren't we?
Yes.
That's okay. Right. Okay. So next week's going to be a random episode, everybody. We're not entirely sure what we're going to be covering that week. It may be another franchise that's close to our hearts.
Maybe.
Maybe some robots in disguise, maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Hun Year Geek is Showing. I have, as always, been your wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous host, Callista Valentine.
She doesn't mind blowing her own horn.
I'm the only one blowing it, so why the fuck not?
Cool. Good point.
Joined always by that some random guy, Jessup Braithwaite.
And the random man from down your way. Always got to play.
We shall see you in the next one, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Remember, short, controlled bursts.
Get away from her, you bitch!
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.